ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody all around the world, hello and welcome to another episode of The Watchman with me, your host, on this Friday afternoon. We're here and it's time for the weekend. Yes, sir. Get excited, make some noise wherever you are, because we're going to end this week off strong. I believe get ready for what is it, Labor Day? But what, no, it's not Memorial Day. I think it's Labor Day. Or one of the days. There's some holiday coming up. Whatever the case may be, we got time off and we're going to enjoy it over the weekend. And we can't wait to be with you all to end this week off strong with a whole bunch of topics, conversation, debates, and all around fun and action to be had on our program today, because it's got so much in store that we're going to have to discuss, because you all are driving the whole of this conversation. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday. That means it's the championship rounds, and you all control the whole of this show. Y'all drive everything that we have going on our live stream today. Whatever topics, questions, concerns you want to have for however long we go on this show is fully predicated on you, the viewing and listening public, to get your takes up, get your opinions, get your thoughts, get your questions, get your all out on this show so we can see what you got to say and have your voice added to the conversation and driving the ship of what we got going on today's show. We still got agendas, don't get me wrong. We still got topics of discussion. We will still have ourselves plot points that we will touch on the show, but majority of the time, more than any other day, you all are going to be the people to dictate how this show's going to go for however long we're up here. So we appreciate you being on the live. And if you haven't already, go ahead and leave a like on the channel and subscribe to the show. That's right. Be a part of the hottest show in all the globe right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. We want you to be a part of our empire. Come join our community and come be a part of a great fanatical group of fans. We laugh, we debate, we argue, we all around. We have fun and we make you excited for all the fights and action to come in boxing and beyond. So please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video. One like makes a world of difference for how we can go through and elevate our show to the masses all across the globe. Hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube. And also be sure, rate us 5 stars on every podcasting platform. Apple, Spotify, you name it, we are there. And if we're not, tell us we'll get there. Absolutely. And do the 2 most important things. Number 1, if you can't support the channel, we have Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as super chats, super gifts, stickers, and the like. All of you can show support to the channel. If you want to keep us going, we're funded by you, the viewing and listening public. Oh, sure, we can get some ads and stuff, but primarily, it is the revenue of the people like you that help make this show oh so possible and oh so great and great. It helps me to pay some bills, but also helps me to make and invest into this show to make this better, stronger, and even more entertaining for you all across the globe, wherever you may be. And the other most important thing, please do share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together with you as the driving force in the engine that is what this community runs off of. And we appreciate all of you being here live all around the globe, wherever you may be, in your car, on your job, at your home, with your friends. I don't care where. Oh, you may shoot, put it on TV. If it got you, put it on the loudspeaker. Let everybody know that this is the hottest show that you can get in any capacity around the sports media landscape. But with all that pageantry, pleasantry, and all around self-plugging involved, we got to talk boxing. We got to make sure we entertain the match. So ladies and gentlemen, it's time to work, and it's time to do what we do best, and it's time to talk sports, it's time to talk boxing, and it's time to step into the ring, and it's time for the championship rounds. Let's get it started. Come on, baby. Yes, sir. Let's get it running. Let's get it popping. Yes, indeed. We can't wait to talk with you today. And again, like you see on the thumbnail, we got Jerron Boots Ennis at the top of the conversation. Teofimo Lopez, and what we wanted to tell you about him at 147 with all the news with Keyshawn Davis, Devin Haney, Rolly Romero, who now got elevated to full-blown WBA champion, which I thought that had already happened. But again, we're going to address why that's significant. But either way, all of this high-octane happenings, not even high octane, just straight up happenings and unpredictability at 147 at welterweight has quelled some of the initial You could call it excitement, or in some cases, you could just call it news that T.O. is also moving up to 147 after his loss to Shakur Stevenson. Everybody was like, oh my. Okay, he lost, got dominated. Now it's time to move up and move out and go to a new division. How could he fare against the likes of Devin Haney and others? That kind of got lost in translation because everybody else started talking about everybody else, understandably so. We can discuss him. We can discuss some more with Boots Ennis and their desires as we are coming up on nearly 1 month away from that fight for the potential unified championship at 154 pounds or super welterweight with the whole of the globe looking to see if Boots can make his presence felt in the not just the star caliber division of 147, but in the pound for pound diaspora of the world of boxing. Can he really make a mark and leave his mark to be seen as truly one of the 10 greats in the world? If you really feel he'll deserve it after this win, we can discuss that. We can also discuss Bam Rodriguez and his fight, like not just against Vargas, but the future of him. And we got to start talking about him in the same way we started talking about Inoue, which is how far can this brother go when it comes to moving up in his career? Because it ain't just Inoue that's a man that can go and potentially conquer multiple divisions, had the capacity, at least skill-wise, to look like he could translate up even beyond the likes of 126 if he actually did go up there in the near future, which again, only time will tell. But is there a legit better upper limit than what we've seen from Bam, which already looks like, hey, 1 of 3 best in the world? Who's to say how high he can go? And can he outpace what his size would normally dictate if we saw him really want to move up in the future? But again, we got all those as conversation topics or anything else that you want to discuss if you so choose, like with the NBA, like with the playoffs. We got the Spurs getting tied at 1-1. You got the Knicks going up and getting a 2-0 lead against Cleveland. If you want to talk about it, hey buddy, come on man, Orange and Blue Skies is here. We are 2 wins away from the Knicks getting to the finals for the first time since the 1990s. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, in a dark world, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I never thought I'd ever live to see the day when we would actually get the potential opportunity to have the Knicks get to the finals in my lifetime. The last time I was this shocked at a situation was with the Cubs winning the World Series. And I stayed up well past my bedtime at that point in time when I was in high school. Because I was going to go and, hey, I'm witnessing this. One way or another, I'm witnessing this. And so Lord knows, if I see this again, another all-encompassing, shocking, all type of situation, and the Knicks just get there, not even win, just get there, oh, I'm switching teams. I'm switching teams. Oh, I'm becoming a Knicks fan. I don't care. I'm doing it just because. I'm being around for the vibes. I'm being around. Somebody fly me out to New York if they actually make it, because I am going to be there to witness all of the pandemonium that potentially would ensue. But again, all those topics and more, if you want to discuss, you can discuss them. But as we'll go, we're going to talk about that and much more on this show. And we're going to start out with the likes of Bam Rodriguez. If you would like to indulge in said conversation, because this is something I want to discuss. Not Richard Torres, dang it. No, come on, championship rounds. There we go. That's the right title card. But no, this is this career of Bam is something that I've been very, not just interested in, not just hyping up him versus Inoue, but looking even beyond Inoue. Because Inoue is not the only end-all be-all. There is a element of tangible potential that we could see Bam Rodriguez, but maybe go even above the weight limit of 130. Why? Because one, he's so much younger than the likes of Inoue or Junto Nakatani. Even though Junto is only 27, Inoue is 32, I believe, 31, 32 years old, something along those lines. And because of that, the propensity, or rather the likelihood of aging out of divisions is a lot more poignant for somebody like Bam. Where by the time he grows up and grows even more, by the time he hits 30, it could be that, hey, I'm good enough and big enough or physically mature enough, yeah, I can go up to these other divisions. I can go move. Maybe past 126. Scratching the surface of 130. Matchups like O'Shaquie Foster, Raymond Ford. Shoot, dare I say, if he gets to 135, let's say, again, all of this is based off of, again, if we saw the likelihood of him beating Inoue, the matchups, if he did choose to move up, would be copious and would be very intriguing for a lot of people. And he would put a lot of your fan favorites and my fan favorites on their heels in terms of could he actually beat this type of monster of a man. And I want this stuff to happen. I would love a perfect world where Inoue is not just the only super fight that we could have for Bam Rodriguez as a boxer only in the realm of 122. He can get there. I think he'll get there comfortably. If I'm going to be completely honest, Bam Rodriguez, by the time he gets there, if it is next year or in 2 years, and I think they're talking about it, the fight happening by next year, if that's where Turkey is indeed insinuating. That's what seems like to be the case. We're going to see that fight happening next year with Bam versus Inoue for the undisputed title, potentially in a baseball stadium holding 80,000 people over in Tokyo, which would make perfect sense and would be ludicrously entertaining, not just as a fight, but as a spectacle. But dare I say, even more so than what we saw with all the pomp and circumstance that was around Junto versus Inoue, strictly because of the capacity of what that fight would be, and it would be one of our own in terms of the states coming over and being able to take on potentially the baddest man on the planet and seeing what he could do. Oh wait, that would be entertaining. But again, that's a whole other conversation. The main thing is, that does not need to be the only fight, mega fight, super fight that we can see from Bam Rodriguez. Junto Nakatani also isn't the only other big fight that we would love to see from Bam. If we did get that, I would love to see him challenge and see if he can legit get up above 130 pounds. Now, if you think that's too ludicrous, please let me know. Let me know if you would. And also, we got people in the chat like Boxing Pro. How you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you coming in on our live stream. Salute to you, and we love everything that you got going on. Boxing Pro, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully, again, you left a like on the video since you and anybody else who's watching. If you can leave a like, it will mean a world of difference to us on this channel. Right now, we're in the championship rounds as we do every single Friday on our show. We talk about anything and everything in the world of boxing and beyond. And right now, one of the biggest discussions that we're having, because again, we covered a lot of what was going to go happening with Usyk and Rico. Gave my prediction on that yesterday. I got Usyk knocking him out in 4 rounds. Richard Torres versus Sanchez, we covered that yesterday. Shiraz versus Lim, we covered that yesterday. Most of the big fights that we covered, we did cover on yesterday's episode. So if you want to see it, you can go and watch it now. Now we're just opening up the floor to the world of you to see what you would like to talk about on today. Because and I'll be completely honest, I do this segment every week. Understand it, because we want to hear from you all, the public. But I'm not gonna lie, it seems like this weekend has kind of been very much flat in terms of the appeal. Even though it was an Usyk fight with some actual decent fights on the cards, like with when we deal with Jack Catterwall versus Giasov, like with again Shiraz versus Lim, but it's only 2 or 3 fights, including Usyk, that everybody cares about. Everything else just kind of ho hum. Oh well, kind of speaks to the investment and the lackluster dealings. Because of the fact that Usyk took on Rico and not anybody else. So that's why it feels a little bit dry this week for a lot of the boxing channels. That may be why. And we kind of feeling the effects of it over here. Now, we still talk about other stuff. Don't get me wrong. Hey, look, we're a multifaceted platform. We don't just need to have one thing as a zone in. We can talk about anything. Absolutely. But just so you know, if it feels a little light, it's because of the lackluster nature that many people feel of that fight with Usyk and Rico in the whole of that card, outside of maybe a couple of instances. So that's why we're discussing the likes of Bam in this situation, because this is something, now it seems like we got some time, I can talk about this, because I've been thinking about this for a minute. I want to see that brother fight above 130. I would like to see it. I think he could do and pull a Lomachenko. We said with Lomachenko, 130, 126, those were some of his best weight classes. He made 4 people quit when he was at 130, dominating, decimating, all that stuff, and was so good he could fight above what his normal physical means should be to be champion, nearly be undisputed, and be one of the best technicians in the globe in boxing history during his stint at 135, even with him being seen as undersized. That's what I think we can see from the talent of Bam Rodriguez, and I want to see that tested. I want to look past just the Inoue fight as a mega event, because there's more to it than just him being a big time player in a big time pawn against a big time opponent, like with Inoue over in Japan. He could go and potentially really take the precedent, and is young enough, is maturing fast enough, and looks to have the skills enough. By the time he reaches the same age as Inoue, if he indeed does want to keep on pushing the envelope, especially with how quickly he's moving right now. Already, yes, again, he's only 25 years old, but again, he's almost got as many fights as his age is inclining. Plus, he's already in contention to fight with Inoue next, straight up. And already at this early age, he's seen, in my opinion, as the third best boxer in the world. He can definitely, in my opinion, get up there. He can get up there. He can get up, and it could be quick, or quicker than we may expect. And depending on how long Lomachenko comes back and stays back, how long Tank chooses to actually be around in boxing, how long we see the likes of how long we see the viability of Shakur Stevenson entertaining the idea of moving back down to 135 for a Raymond Murataya, for an Abdullah Mason, for all these other fights at 135 for championships, which he has said he wants to do. There is a avenue that many of the biggest names that we've had talked about over the past 2 years in boxing, specifically now, we can have them face off against Bam. Even if they will be a little bit older, it will be Bam in his absolute prime. But the limit is, if Inoue's stopping at 126, and we're saying his talent is well and good, can beat above his weight class, well, that should tell you that Bam doesn't have that same ability, or rather doesn't have that is going to be his limit. Because a lot of people don't see Bam, or me, well, not even me. The public sees Bam in a way about as close as you can get. But same breath, if he stopped here and he's this good, even if you're that good, can you still outdo your biggest rival, at least at this moment in time? From the standpoint of chasing legacy. And I think he'd go for it. I would hope he'd go for it. It would be insane. And imagine Bam versus Tank, potentially a couple years down the line, if, again, Tank stayed, what that fight might look like. Shakur, if he's able to actually keep on fighting at 135, and we see Bam move quick from 126, and potentially, crazy as he is, he may just jump weight classes, go and try to take on a bigger fight. Would be ridiculous. It's speculation. It's understandable. Like I said, this is a dream scenario for me. It's a dream scenario for me to see what things could look like. Like for me, it was always a dream to see if we could get Inoue to fight at 147. Do what Pacquiao did and attempt to go all the way to that big weight class and see what he can do. That's a dream of mine. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It is a fascination of imagination that I have for my kind of magnum opus of what could be seen as possible. That don't mean it's going to happen. For Bam, this whole conversation is still speculation that I would love to have achieved and become a reality. But it's speculation. We don't know. And it is potentially is unlikely. All these dreams could be even accomplished. But it's because of the skill that I think it's real. It's because of his ability and translative power. Because even Shakur said himself, hey man, this brother's punching bigger than people in my own division. Why in the world is this brother this small, punching this hard, where I have to respect him? Mind you, we've seen Shakur, if you don't got pop, like with Zepeda, it'll be not just lack of respect. Also, sorry, I got an eyelash in my eye, but I'll keep on talking. It won't just be a lack of respect. It'll be like, oh, I'll walk through you. There's nothing to worry about. And with Shakur, he's saying, mind you, an even younger, less polished, less skillful and accommodated boxer And Bam Rodriguez, at that point in time when they were training in the Olympics, he was already saying, oh yeah, this brother's a problem. This man is giving me thoughts about how I need to approach him because of the fact that he is this much of a menace in strength and physical ability. Again, I do apologize. I'll let you mind trying to talk and do this show at the same time. But we'll keep on going. That, coupled with the mindset, the all-around acumen, more importantly, the IQ of this man has the capacity to outclass, outshine, and perplex most of opponents, even above 135. You want to say O'Shaquie Foster against Raymond Ford is a great fight. One of the reasons why I think we'll see O'Shaquie Foster win is because I don't know how much IQ Raymond Ford has when compared to dealing with the boxing of that 72-inch reach, long jab, straight right hand of O'Shaquie Foster. I am interested to see how he deals with that. In a way, or excuse me, Bam, I don't think that would be a problem. Most of the physical issues that Bam would have against bigger opponents that would normally be major concerns don't concern me when it comes to him. The size difference of what a fighter may be never concerns me for what he is in the ring. It doesn't. He's that much more advanced than everybody else, and it's not even it's not even in like a supercomputer way. It's like a natural type of way. You know, some people, they're processing stuff and they're thinking, and it's boom, 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 stuff is happening. Well, Bam, it's literally, okay, there's an opening. Pop. Oh, you're punching. Oh, my bad. Boom. I'm out the way. I gotta walk it down now. Okay, here we go. Good jab. Good jab. Good jab. Yep, you're throwing. Up. Boom. There's an opening. Oh, body's open. Pow. You see, it's again, lazy effort. Or rather, lazy power. And it's lazy IQ. I don't say that negatively. I say that because it just doesn't seem like he's really trying hard in the ring. And then he just goes through and decimates everybody. This isn't like what I was saying when it was just effortless work. I'm talking about like everything this man does just look like he's going at half speed. We've talked about everything with some people, like formerly Diego Pacheco. When we were talking about how it just looks effortless for him, which again, now that he's stepped up a competition, and I got to see more of him, okay, I got to kind of reevaluate that aspect of his ability. He's still good, don't get me wrong. But again, as time goes on, we change if stuff needs to change. But with Bam, it's not effortless. It's almost like it's something different. It's like a getting out of bed. Okay, it's time to fight. Boom. Oh, I won. Perfect. Smile and wave. All right, it's time for me to go home. He still enjoyed it. He's having fun, but he's so loose, and it's so like every fight I've seen with him post Estrada has felt like a sparring session, specifically because he feels like he's going through the motions, and the opponent looks like he's going life and death. Martinez threw everything at the kitchen against him, had no answer at all. Sonny Edwards was, at that point in time, top 10 in the world and undisputedly reigning over his division. And Ben Rodriguez didn't just knock him out. He walked through him in a way that was Sonny Edwards retired after that fight when he was in the middle of his prime. He got that much of an outclassing performance against him by Bam. He called it quits. By the end of the fight, Bam was laughing at him, smiling at him, goading him and goading the crowd. This is Sonny Edwards. This was at that point in time one of the purest movers. And as a point scoring fighter, ring generalship and all that stuff, he was seen as, oh my gosh, this brother from the UK, ponytails in his hair and all, is just wiping the floor with anybody in front of him. And Bam literally took his spirit, smiling while doing it. Kafu was never able to get on the front foot after round 2. No, excuse me, after the end of round 1. As in the last 30 seconds, he was on the back foot and he never touched the center of the ring again because Bam was easily walking him down and essentially doing pad work on Kafu until he knocked Kafu out and they had to throw in the towel. Like, where I'm seeing this man beat people in the same decimating way, but do it with a embodiment of presence that's completely opposite anyway. Well, anyway, it's monstrous. It's oh my gosh. It's oh, I feel the pain. I see the teeth that the monster shows. You can feel the bite marks every time he throws a shot. Everything about him is so sharp and crisp and clean. It's deadly. With Bam, it almost feels like, oh, this brother, he's barely what the world. It's like it's like, some would say like Jason. He's not necessarily emotionless in terms of Bam. Oh, he smiles and all that stuff. But in terms of just, you see the opponent flailing, gasping for air, looking for a way out, trying to find a solution, making anything happen if they can out of sheer desperation. And Bam is literally just, good try. All right, my turn. Try it again. See if it works this time. It's horrific in a sense of, not only can nothing faze him, this cat just doesn't look like he's trying against me. Yet I'm in the fight of my life and I know I'm going to lose. It's so weird, but in a good way. And that type of framework of a fighter, everybody doesn't do that. Everybody doesn't have that or something akin to that. When you are so good that you make, not just you make stuff look easy, but you make essentially a duality of man inside the ring. You're trying your hardest and I'm just living. That's different. That's different. That's the type of skill that goes and pushes the boundaries of ease and not of ease above where you should belong. Success rates where you should not be able to be at your best. All because you are that much of a ladder above everybody. That it just doesn't look like you're trying. That's Bam. And that's why he can go, he can go above 126. If he chooses to, that's a different prerogative. Anyway, says, I can't handle 126, above 126 physically. So I'm not going to do it. Fine. Cool. We get it. But if he chose to, I strongly believe he would still be just fine. I feel that same way with Bam. If he chose to fight above 122, go up to 126, and even challenge the people at 130 or really push Yamal up at 135. If you say that he's too small, cool. You say that he's too much outclassed in strength, fine. You say that he's going to be physically outmatched against everybody that he goes up against, that is all well and good. And I'm telling you right now, if he did make the move, it would not matter. It would not matter. All because he is just that good. He's just that good. And if anything, that might actually cause him to show levels of skill that we've yet to see. We talk about how Devin Haney and others always say, oh, people haven't seen the best of me. People haven't seen the best aspects of what I can do as a boxer. I haven't been tanked. I haven't been tested yet. Y'all ain't seen the best of me, even though, yeah, you got tested against Lamont Roach and Isaac Cruz. But again, that's a whole other conversation. But they keep on saying, I haven't been tested and you ain't seen the best of me. Shakur, y'all ain't seen somebody really put me in that point, put me to that place, push me to that position where I got to really put out all the stops to show you just how good I actually am. There's nobody that's that good to make me be as good as I need to be or as good as I can be. That's been a lot of times the argument for why you ain't seen nothing yet, and it is just scratching the surface of my ability. Fine, cool. If that's the case, that's the case. But when it comes to who can, if you actually showed it, who would actually reign above them all, showing all your skill sets? Don't be surprised if it's like Bam, if he did unlock the chamber. Oh, it's all him. It's all him. That same thing is the case with Bam. But the difference is with him, if he ever does get there and he puts out effort, good night to whoever tries to fight him. Like, it's a legit guarantee. Because him, in a way, Crawford, are cut from that same cloth. And we call it the Salvador Sanchez effect. Or the Salvador Sanchez gene. If you push me to where I need to be as good as I need to be, it's guaranteed that you will never make it to the end of the fight. It's guaranteed. That's where he's at. That's how good he is. So I think he can fight at 130. Just fine. Just fine. 135. Just fine. If he chose to take that chance. And I guarantee you, if the stardom follows what we've seen with him as a fighter, and he starts to really garner the public appeal, the public perception, and it could come after anyway, with that really shock and awe of the American machine pushes this man to reach the top of the mountain as one of the biggest stars in our country. Can't say the globe, our country specifically, in the U.S. Oh, he would be, the world would be his oyster. It would be his oyster. It would be. And my gosh, if it does happen, perfect. And and that would push him to be like, oh, I got the public behind me, got the fans behind me, I got support from our nation, from our country, from my state, from my city, and I'm making bank, and I'm still this much far and away better than anybody else. Yeah. And I'm young still. I'll take the chance. I'll take it, and I would hope so. I would hope so, at least for me. At least for me. But again, like I said, we still got more to talk about on this show. And we also want to discuss real quick Teofimo Lopez. That is something that we haven't discussed for a hot minute that I did want to talk about on this show. More specifically, Teofimo Lopez fighting at 147 with this new regime of high tier competition. With what he is now, off what he looked like against Shakur, can he get to the top of the mountain here at 147 again? Can he? With what happened to him at 140 with Shakur leaving a lasting stain on everybody saying, ooh, you got outclassed. You good. But now when you move up here, you're dealing with another same potential fighter like with Devin Haney. With speed, the jab, distance can give you some trouble. Ryan Garcia, even though he's not Devin Haney, with what he showed with his own jab and his speed. And though it's Mario Barrios, I'm not saying he's a phenomenal boxer, but it showed even against a taller opponent, he can't actually box. Going against that type of framework of man could give you some trouble of, oh my, I'm getting caught. I'm getting out jabbed. I can't get on the inside. I'm getting countered at Kingdom Come. Instead of with the jab, now it comes with the hook. And you run into the same issues. There may be some concern with the likelihood that we can see T.O. be as good as we think he can be at 147 with this new perspective on the division. Also, Super Saiyan, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our live stream today. It is the championship rounds on our show. We're talking about anything and everything under the sun when it comes to the world of boxing. You all are controlling the whole of this show. We're going through topics of discussion. We're going through anything and everything involving the world of questions, comments, concerns, debates in the NBA and beyond. All you have to do is put it in the chat. We want to hear your questions of anything that you have to say. But right now we're discussing T.O. versus the rest of 154 in the conversation that we haven't had to have, or we haven't gotten to touch on, strictly because the rest of 154, for the most part, has kind of outshined him. Let's be real. T.O. at 154 has kind of been put under the dossier of conversation because of the, not just movements, but the rest of the boxing world, they haven't forgot about him. Be clear. But he's kind of been somewhat snuck under the radar with the Devin Haney situation, Ryan Garcia winning a title. Haney and Ryan Garcia, they looking like, oh, we may still fight each other. That whole conversation. And then with the likes of moving, people moving up, coming to this division, Brian Oman looking like he may have fixed a lot of the problems that we have seen with him at 147. It's still top heavy. But there's been a lot of news amongst that top heavy competition. And T.O., we haven't really discussed his likelihood of being able to become a champion again at this division, with him coming back into the world of boxing at a bigger weight class, a higher weight class, and a more dangerous, physically demanding weight class. It's a concern, at least. And with the likelihood of him facing off against another version, well, I'm not going to say another version, another akin fighter to Shakur like Devin Haney, could he be successful if he fought against him? Now, with what he looked like. I'm serious. Because it could be a situation where we can see this man, if Devin Haney is the one to ultimately hold all the belts, could he actually get to a point where he could become a title holder? Could he? You know, him versus Rolly, because now that Rolly is the full-blown super champion for the WBA, got elevated yesterday, even though I thought he was already elevated and he was already in that position of a full-blown world titleist. I didn't know it didn't happen yet. Regardless of which, between Ryan, Devin, Rolly, could T.O. get a championship if he fought again at 147, or when he fights again at 147 against any of these names? A newly revered Rolly Romero, a fully healthy and seemingly offensively even better Ryan Garcia, and a Devin Haney who has looked like he can do the same thing that we saw Shakur do to T.O., though he would not be nearly as on his jab after the second half of the fight, most likely. But that first 6 rounds, oh my, could T.O. be the front runner? Could he? Yeah, that's what Devin Haney is. Could he beat and stop the jab based on what happened with him and Shakur? Would this new regime of training help him to be able to be successful? Or would he just crash and burn? All of these are questions that we need to ask about T.O. because this is heating up now. This is really, like, this is no longer just we're excited. Oh, there's names there. Oh, competition's arising. We can't wait to see it. We need to have a real conversation about the likelihood that T.O. at 147 may not be nearly as threatening as we thought he would be, with these new landscape of people that most of them have worked or at least attempted to fix what issues would have given them the most trouble against the likes of T.O. and anybody else they would have fought at this bigger, stronger, longer weight division. And with T.O., the same thing, questions arise. Specifically because going from his dad, trying to train a new style, trying to train with somebody that can prayerfully bring out the better acumen of boxing, which we think it will, but that takes some time sometimes. Some stuff doesn't gel ultimately just outright off the bat. And I don't think he has time. Not saying that he's old. I don't think he's got time to really wait or mold, because he is getting up there. He's turning into one of the more veteran fighters of the day. Already been accomplished. Kingdom Come. He's done all that you can do in the sport. It's about when it comes to his divisions. Was a knockout artist. Was seen as one of the top 10 in the world. Was one of the most exciting fighters in the game at one point. Ran divisions, pound for pound, in the globe. Undisputed, arguably. But at minimum, beat the best in the world at that point in time. Reigned over divisions like at 140 before getting beat. So it's we don't want to say one fight changes everything. We don't want to say one fight all of a sudden makes all of us concerned, scared, and all around stepping back from saying, oh my gosh, Tia was never that good. We ain't saying that. Be clear, we ain't saying that. We are not saying it. We are not trying to sit up here and say that all of a sudden Tio is never going to be a threat up here. All of a sudden now he might as well pack it up and send it home. He's got 2 losses on that. What was it, 2 losses on his resume? That brother sucks. No, we're not saying that at all. We're just understanding that we're looking at a career that now getting a title or unified rather, because I think he does beat Rolly. If he fought against Rolly, I think he does beat Rolly. Now, current iteration, I think he beats Rolly without any adjustments. Because without any adjustments, just strictly boxing, he could go and beat Rolly by himself because he's just better than him. He is. I fully believe he's just better than him. This is with Rolly being more mature, more methodical, better using of his jab and all that stuff. Tio just outright better than him. So yeah, I think he would still win that fight. Then when it comes down to the big dogs like Ryan and Devin, I'm not sure if I can rely on him to be as successful. I'm not. Brian Norman, I think he could beat him, even though Brian Norman looks like he's better. But even it's kind of up in the air, depending on if Brian Norman, if those tools and that physical nature has been able to not let himself stop his own work, he could potentially give T.O. some concern. There's some validity to the vulnerability of T.O. that ain't just because Shakur beat him. It's because what Shakur exposed to some degree was at that high level at this current iteration of T.O. There can be a separation. And most likely who brings that separation the most would be Devin Haney. If we expect a history to repeat itself. That's really the fight everybody's not talking about. But that's really the fight that brings the most investment to me. Because how exactly could T.O. beat Devin Haney if Devin Haney used the same tactics? Yeah. And it would only be unless we saw T.O. truly evolve as a fighter. And the question is for T.O., even with a new trainer, which again is not his dad, prayerfully, or hopefully, or no, not prayerfully, thankfully, because now his dad is a trainer anymore. But even still, just like with Canelo, just like with other fighters who Isaac Cruz, now training under Eddie, the question always is going to come up. Can you teach somebody who's been so successful at one stage in their career that this is who they are? Can you teach them something new that will stick to their game? Not just they can practice it, not just they can go and train it. Can it stick? And does it blend? And with all the uniqueness of T.O., we even said outright, hey, T.O., without his dad, with a different guy, he could be a monster. At the same breath, it could be that without his dad, but with a different trainer, the style that tries to implement it with him might not blend. It might not be as a seamless transition, even with the absolutely incredible natural talent and malleability that we've seen T.O. have, especially with his own intellect as a fighter. Yeah, it's incredible. But doesn't always work that way. That's why it's a lot of questions. But it's something we need to start discussing more. T.O. at 147 against the current reigning champions, who he's trying to get to, is it more concerning than we've given it credit for? That this man may not be in the same position of, I can go and dominate. I can go and win, and I'll get right back to the mountaintop without any concern. It could very well be there's some more concern that we need to recognize. There's some more meat on this bone that we need to eat away at to really get some answers. Because right now, it looks like a good steak, but I'm telling you, it's a different environment. It's cooked differently up here. And so what we previously knew about Tio still is true, but the viability of that being successful up here does draw concerns. And if there is a need for change, will that change, one, blend, and two, will it stick? And three, what is that needs to be changed in the first place? These are the questions that just needs to be asked about Tio. As the time goes on, this division keeps on heating up. But again, just food for thought. So you can see exactly what's going on. Have some discussions about, for yourself, what can happen with Tio. Because he is a big fixture in this division. Even though he has kind of been lost in the shuffle of the current movements and landscape of 147 at this point in time. And he hasn't gotten a fight yet. That's another thing. He hasn't fought yet. We would love to have seen him. And yeah, he took a beating against Shakur. We understand. He took a beating. He got walked. He got dog walked in that fight. We understand. It looked scary. It looked very scary. However, we don't want just to forget about it while he's recovering, because his comeback is going to be very interesting, and who he comes back against is also going to be very interesting. We would expect him, as former champion, reigning, Ring Magazine, and holding, I think one or two of the belts at 140. We would expect that he can skip the line a little. We would expect that he has the luxury of taking some time to call some shots, to put himself in position of where he want to be, without having to do the same grunt work of other fighters because of the already established pedigree. That is where we have to ask. Let's just move into that abode where he is in that position to be not just successful, but it's successful against the top echelon. Well, what's the likelihood of his success in the first place? If he does push the envelope potentially off the bat. These are the things we just need to ask about Tio. That's all. And trust me, as we get some months go on, these conversations are going to come back up. It's going to come back up. I'm just prepping you. Because these conversations, they're going to come back up. And we need to see them and be able to talk about them. Absolutely. But still, we got more stuff to talk about on this show. Because this is still the championship rounds on our Friday edition of the Welch Report. We do this every single Friday. You all control the whole of this show. Questions, comments, concerns, debates, anything outside of anything in and outside of boxing, we can discuss with you. Questions, concerns, whatever your topics of preference are, put them in the chat and we can discuss them. Whatever you want to ask me, you want to have a debate, you want to have a conversation, you want to question my intellect on whatever I know. When it comes to the world of boxing, we want to hear from you. But even with that being said, we still got more stuff in the boxing world that we will cover, like with some questions involving, well, I was going to say Devin Haney and Shakur. Before we get to that, there was something else I wanted to show real quick. Just give me one moment to actually pull it up. Hold on. There we go. Involving this weekend, as we go real quick, we're going to transition over to picture-in-picture to show you. But over this weekend, you got Usyk and you have Rico. Yeah, let's take it over the news and all that stuff. But even more than that, there's another fight that I'm very interested in, and it's not this week, next week. May 30th, it's going down. But on the undercard of Foster versus Ford, O'Shaquie Foster versus Raymond Ford, which we will be able to discuss. We also wanted to talk about Jones. His name is Omari Jones going up against Osuna. That's a fight that if you haven't seen Omari Jones before, this brother is something serious. This cat is something real. And it might not get as much buzz as the rest of the panel, or excuse me, as the rest of the card that it happens, or the rest of the events that are happening around May this month. But you need to keep a very close eye on this fight. You need to keep a very close eye on this fight. Omari Jones, as a boxer, this brother has something special. Remember what we said about Abdullah Mason? And about he's got so, at the young age that he was, he's got so much unearthed talent. Like, it's very raw, but you can definitely see he's already working to refine it in a way that he's mature beyond what his years would normally have for a fighter. It might not be perfect, but he's doing the right stuff. It may not be completely on the nose, everything is right all the time, but it is indeed. He's placing the stuff correctly. He's thinking like you need to think as a future potential champion. And ultimately, he became that. Omari Jones has some of that in him too. He's got some of that in him too. This man on May 30th is going to show, I think he's going to show the world something really special. You should tune into this fight. You should watch this fight. This is a fight that you should be very invested in. At least keeping up with the result. And if you can, look up what happens afterwards. Or with the highlights if you can't catch it outright. Because Omari Jones is going to probably be a future champion. Sooner than we expect. If this trajectory keeps on going, he's probably going to be somebody that is going to, cold, hard run divisions, or be a consistent top contender that has or is vying for a title wherever he goes in the very near future. In the very near future. He's still young, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's perfect in all regards, but I'm just letting you know. Because this is the fight I wanted to make sure I at least spotlighted in some degree. May 30th, Ford and Foster. And we're going to talk about that fight too. Because O'Shaquie Foster and Raymond Ford, they've been beefing, they've been talking. We've seen O'Shaquie Foster be fit and physical. Do we still think that Raymond Ford can actually get it done? We're going to talk about that right here. But before that, this fight on the undercard, I promise you, this is if you haven't seen Omari Jones before, you need to take some time to at least get to know him and watch this fight. Because he's got something. He's got something. I'm telling you. He's got something special with him. That the more he dominates and wins, it's looking like, he's going to be, y'all better watch out. Y'all better watch out. He's going to be an issue. It's going to be a major issue. But as we continue to talk about this show, we can discuss that very fight with O'Shaquie Foster and Raymond Ford. Because I still think to this day, O'Shaquie's going to win. I still do. And maybe it's because of the lasting impression that I saw from that fight against Stephen Fulton. Now, to be clear, Stephen Fulton should not have been at 130 in retrospect because of how he looked, how he came in with a gut, looked out of shape, and had nothing under his regime of talent to even contend with what Foster was doing. He had nothing. Like it looked like every check hook, every shake bite, everything came up short, and he couldn't even attempt to close the distance. It was not great at all. It wasn't. But for me, to beat him up like that, only thing that would have been made it better was if he had knocked him out. But to beat him up like that, man, preposterous. Ridiculous. That's what that is. Ridiculous. That's what that is. But more than anything, this fight with Ford versus Jones. Ford versus Foster. This fight is showing me this is going to show me, one, if Raymond Ford really got it like that. And two, would I want to see O'Shaquie Foster at 135 move up and fight against the likes of Raymond Murtaya or Lomachenko? How viable would he be? Because, in my opinion, this is the fight that we should see O'Shaquie Foster win. We should see him be able to keep Ford on the outside. We should. Now, again, that's me. That's my pick. My potential opinion for who's going to win this fight. If you think Ford's going to win, I would love to hear it down in the chat and see why. I would love to understand what makes Ford be able to win this fight. Because again, my biggest concern with Ford, like I said earlier, he has not been, or rather, I don't know what he excels at. And yeah, he's all around good, but also his all around good hasn't been good enough to be people that are seen as great or better than good. Even though he's been able to compete. Nick Ball, perfect example. Fought great, but lost and came up short. And since then, I haven't seen anything to answer the question, okay, what is his it thing? Is it outright power? Is it combination punching? Is it speed? Everything I've seen is good, but is beatable. Though he's hard to beat. O'Shaquie, I've seen him be great at using that jab, be great at using his length, and having a skill set that he can fall back on. I don't know what it is that we can see Raymond Ford, or that we have Raymond Ford able to fall back on within his skills. Not because he's not good, but I don't know where his specialty lies. Of the reliable thing. LaMarcus Aldridge had an interview years ago talking about a shot, or I think it was years ago, or it might have even been a couple months. Either way, he was talking about when he had a move late in game that first quarter, fourth quarter, when I need to get stuff started and when I need to end the show and secure a win for my team, I got two moves, or rather one move, that I'll always go back to. And it's that left shoulder fadeaway. That left shoulder fadeaway, or that turnaround fadeaway from the block, 15 feet out. I can go to that every single time when I need a bucket. So even though I'm incredibly skilled, I don't have to overthink what I need to do, because I know I know what I'm going to go to. That's what I don't know what we have Raymond for. But with Foster, I do. And if he does go there, and it gets to a point where he's got to fall back on something, old reliable, I don't know what old reliable is going up against O'Shaquie Foster. Because I haven't seen an old reliable from Raymond Ford, at least for me. But I want to hear from you all. Let me see. Foster versus Ford will be dope. Foster by UD should be good money. It should be. And it's going to be a good fight. But for me, this is a pivotal point for Raymond Ford. Because again, you try, you win, you fight, you can potentially lose. We understand that. We're not diminishing it. But also, where's the jump forward? Where is the pace of turning into, okay, boom, he got to the mountaintop? Because I've been hearing a bunch of people talking about how he should and can and will be one of the people that in his career, he's going to be one of the ones. Oh, it's going to be so exciting. He's going to be a star. He's going to make this leap and hold the belt, get a couple championships, beat good people, and be one of the best in his division. However, I have not seen that yet from him. I haven't seen that yet. And I want to feel the belief in him in that regard, where I can say he can beat the elites. He can beat, not just compete, he can win against the top guys in and around his division. But I don't see that. I don't see that. Because I haven't seen that jump necessary. Not just in a win, but I'm talking about in his own development as a fighter. I haven't seen that leap of your jab's gotten a whole bunch better. your inside work. I would think that when, even though I'm not exactly sure what his specialty is, when I know he's got some good hooks. Watching him, I know he's got at least some good hooks. And being able to throw hooks in some quick succession. But even that, turning that into a real, his MO. He's got this tool that if all else fails, I can open you up and hit you around your guard or something along those lines. I haven't seen that. There's nothing that jumps out at me when it comes to Raymond Ford, even though he's an exciting fighter. And again, that's just me. And if he was living up to that hype, or rather, if his ability was living up to what the moniker of talent that was being placed on him was, I would be saying he can beat and will beat O'Shaquie Foster. Because O'Shaquie definitely ain't no perfect fighter. He just had one of his best performances. He ain't perfect. He talking about calling out Shakur. He talking about calling out all these other boxers. And he ain't ready for that. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. He's not ready for them. What he thinks he's good. He ain't that good. He's skilled. He ain't that skilled. You want to talk about you would love to fight Shakur at 135, but you couldn't beat Raymond Murray and Andy Cruz. You wouldn't be, if you fought against him, you would not be Raymond Murray or Andy Cruz if you fought against him. You're not there, but you're good. I'm saying Raymond Ford, watching him, I thought he would be there, or at least be a whole lot closer to there than what we're seeing now. For me, that's why I'm concerned, because this is a good fight. This is going to be a really good fight, and I want to pick Ford. I really do. But I just don't have the confidence in Ford to be able to say, yes, you can get over the hump and get the job done. I don't. If I did, it'd be the best thing in the world. Because the mentality of Raymond Ford I love, he can talk. He's growing in confidence and all that stuff. I love that. It's just, I'm more scared we could see a repeat of what we saw from Stephen Fulton against Raymond Ford. Not just because of, it's the smaller man and Fulton that had to fight up and, he's just fighting above his weight class. No, I'm talking about like just straight up. Ford could just straight get out box. Ford could just straight up get held at range and never be able to come and do what he wants to do on the inside. Never be able to land the shots downstairs and keep getting popped. He could. He's legit. We can see that buddy get aggressive, get mad, try to come in and get countered with a straight right. Shock, jabs his way back. And now, boom, you're back at range, and now your eyes swell up. Your bruising's on, under your eye, on your cheek. You got some blood coming out from your nose. You ain't hurt, but you showing up losing. And we can see it. So it's like, I want to be proved wrong. And I do hope he does prove me wrong. Because I want to see it. I do want to see it. Let me see. Yo, Joshua Wagner, what's going on? Hey, Wagner, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our show. Thank you for coming back on the show. Again, it's the Friday edition of the Welch Report. We talk about anything and everything under the sun when it comes to the world of boxing and beyond. And it's your time to ask your questions on anything surrounding the world of sports. Anything, NBA, NFL, boxing as a whole, Juwan, Ennis, Teofimo Lopez, more stuff on Usyk versus Rico, Lomachenko, Tank, it doesn't matter. We want to hear from you in your responses in the chat on anything involving our show. And please, if you haven't already, leave a like on the stream. One like makes a world of difference if you like what we got going on our show to help it so we can keep on growing. No question about it. But you say on your chat, the Zayas Ennis match has super intrigued me. And again, that's part of the reason why A lot of this weekend's action has kind of gotten put under the radar strictly because of this fight with Boots and Zayas coming up on June 30th, having a lot of people invested, intrigued, and very much looking forward to the potential future crowning of a new king in the world of boxing, or at least a new threat to the kingdom of the top caliber fighters in the world right now. And I'm telling you, it's going to be insane. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait to see it. And in fact, we even got some training footage of Xander Zayas working on the bag, getting ready for this. And once I find it, I'll be able to put it up for you all. But Zayas is looking more and more. We talked about this brother being fat and out of shape. Hey man, he changed that real quick. We talked about it. We talked about him looking over 200 pounds and looking like he needs to get himself right. It seems like he done just that because he's looking mighty good. He's looking mighty flushed out. This man has taken this fight serious, more than just seriously. He is, like, he working. He's thriving. He's looking to cause the whole landscape of the boxing world, not just to respect him, but to, y'all better recognize, but Boots is not the man that runs this show. It's me. It's me. It's me and me alone. That's what he wants. Because we're gonna get into the fight itself, absolutely. But let's get into the real weeds of the makeup of this fight. Zayas has been one of the seen as, and we talked about this even when Boots was coming up to this division. If he won the belts and unified, he would then be seen as the weakest champion at 154, even though he's been youngest champion, pushing the envelope and all that stuff. And between him, who was it? Him, Josh Kelly, Fundora, it was going to be seen that Zayas would be more at the bottom of the totem pole in those, with respect. This ain't saying that he's bad. No, this is me saying in the landscape of what the division would look at him as. They may say, hey, he's still oh so young. He ain't that guy fully just yet, even though he's accomplished real quick a lot of stuff. He wants to get that moniker off of his back and be seen as full blown. This ain't just me being young and being hungry. I'm legit that good. And he's going up against somebody who's had the crown of you're already the best put on him or given to him, or at least dangled in front of him in Bruce Ennis before he came to this division. Everybody was saying he's already the best at 147, at 154. The second he knocked out Lima, even though, again, Lima, former champion, but wasn't really all that great. Everybody was saying, see, y'all don't want nothing, no smoke with him. Give him a title. Give him all the belts. He hasn't fought one top 10 or top 5 level contender, and he's already better than Fundora, better than not Shiraz. He's better than Bakram, better than Kelly, better than Ortiz. He's better than everybody. Silver platter of this division laid at his feet. It's privilege versus persistence. And I don't say privilege in a bad way. It's the privileged nature of everybody seeing your skills and saying, this guy's got that it factor more than anything else in Boots. We want to see him be at the top. And Zayas, persistence. I worked and took the route that others in my own zone of age weren't taking. I took the route that many of your favorite stars aren't taking. And I pushed myself to already get in positions and win titles early. Forget risking records, forget not risking records and forget the risk of losing. I'm going after the big guns as quick as I can. I'm persistent. But the privilege of that crown hasn't fallen on me. Boots, he drug his feet before getting up here. And now the privilege of his skill has made everybody say he's already claimed the crown that he hasn't even won yet in this division. They both work hard. They both got talent. They've both been in the gym and making their careers great, but it is the perception of the public that one is held. The throne's already waiting on you. And one is held in the sense of you're just a holding place for the true king. If you get the gist. That's Zayas versus Boots. There's some real animosity in terms of not hate, but there's some statements that are trying to be made. And we're going to see Zayas, especially with how he's been working out in the gym, as you can see right here. Like well, actually, let me make sure y'all can let me make sure y'all can see it. Hold on now. Okay, yeah, y'all can't see it. We just had to make sure. But like that's what's at stake here. Legit, that's what's at stake. Like y'all see this, and again, cut up now from what he was looking like when he was fat and out of shape, or looking like well over 200. He put himself together, didn't he? Because this is the fight of his life. This is the moment of I may have other opportunities, but I can right now shift the entire narrative, makeup, and legacy that people have of me with this win. Dare I say, even in a loss, people saw the performance that has people saying, hey man, we're questioning the totality of skills that Boots may have, because this is the third time we've seen him struggle. First 2 times it was Shukajan. Then if it's Zayas that does that same level of, Boots don't look as invincible, and dare I say beat him outright. My gosh. That breeds a level of conversation, does it? That breeds a level of not just concern, but legit. This is better than we thought. We may have overlooked Zayas. So, with that in mind, this is more than just a lot at stake, man. There's some respect being had that both of them are trying to garner. Let me see. No dog in the 54 race. I want to see who is standing when the smoke clears, who plants their flag on the mountaintop. Look, I do too. Big clear, I do too. I'm just telling you, that's what the narrative of the division is right now. Previously it was, we don't know who's going to win. Now, since Boots got here, it has shifted from the public talking points into, if Boots wins this division, things are going to change with him as the best in the world. He's turned into the main character for a lot of people. And this division is the plot. This division is the story. This division is the big bad bosses that you have to go and take out. It is. This division is, it's turned into, Boots is turned into Naruto. 154 is the Akatsuki. Can you take on the Akatsuki? All until you get to Itachi or Obito in this situation. If you want to talk about the real leader, but again, that's a whole other conversation. If you haven't seen Naruto, go watch it. It's a phenomenal series. But regardless of which, it's that type of situation. And that's where Boots, or that's where Zayas and Quakes Up, everybody else in this division is trying to fight out of that moniker of we are players in his story. More so, we are the people he's got to beat. And it's our division, or my division, depending on who feels as they are the rulers of it all. And this brother's getting crowned well before he's garnered the level of production to deserve that crown. That's a lot of the fight right now at 154. Which, go look at social media. I'm serious. It's like that. Let me see. It's more than just taking it seriously. It's the fight Zayas absolutely wants. And yet, you see, the fact that he wants this type of smoke is what makes me so excited. That's why I'm saying after this fight, this man's going to turn into a dog. Win or lose. Because his already drive to fight this type of level competition is going to force him to really have to say, If I want this, I got to make myself good enough to be in this position. And this type of trial by fire, willingly jumping in, it's going to turn him into a monster. Let me see. Truth, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our live stream. Who you got? Frank or Torres? I got Richard Torres winning this fight up this weekend, going up against Frank Sanchez. But we talked about this. I think we talked about this yesterday at the before you came in at the end of the show. He, Antonio Torres, has got to put on a performance that makes me believe that Olympic pedigree ain't just a joke, and his competence as a heavyweight contender, as a legit position of title holder, is valid and not just in vain because of the American machine of marketing. I don't believe in Richard Torres as a heavyweight real contender. He's a threat. He is a talent. But at the championship level that everybody's saying he's going to be in that vicinity, I don't think he is. I don't believe in him. And if I want to believe in him, it's going to take this fight with Sanchez to do it. This isn't because I'm trying to directly compare him to Moses Atalma, even though their careers are indeed comparable because they've had the same instances of fight numbers. They've been following a similar trajectory of opponents stepping up in competition, even though Atalma stepped up quicker, especially in the last two fights against Dillian White and Jermaine Franklin. But even still, same timetable, same scale, similar age somewhat, even though I think Atalma's younger and he's already moving like this. But I'm not even holding that against Torres. I'm strictly saying, in the fights I've seen him in against opponents that he should have beaten as he was building up his resume with his Olympic, I believe, silver medalist pedigree. If I'm wrong on the silver medal part, please excuse me. But I haven't seen the level of evolution in him to make me believe he's got the goods as a swarmer, as a brawler, as a motor-driven fighter whose best weapon is stamina and density. I don't think he's going to be able to be great. And if he is, he better show it against Sanchez, who's a former champion, or excuse me, not former champion, who's a former championship contender. Now in more of the position of journeyman, not journeyman, but like gatekeeper for the world of heavyweight. If you can beat him, you belong as, okay, we can take you seriously, or somebody around his caliber. We can take you seriously in the realm of heavyweight aspirations of you can unlock the door to start competing truly for world championship acclaim. Working your way up in the ranks, all that stuff. I'm fine with that. I'm just saying I don't know if he can beat that. If Bo Mack trains him right and the styles mesh well, sure, Torres can win. Torres can actually get a knockout. I would love to see if he can do. But again, if the feet and the knees of Sanchez hold up, and all of a sudden we see him be able to turn around or Torres, make it into some trouble, all of a sudden I'm going to say, well, it's just like I thought. It's a one-dimensional fighter with a motor, sure. And he has something there, but he hasn't unlocked it. He can't unlock it because this is just what he is. And I want Torres to prove me wrong. Please do. I'm not hating on Torres. I am just not going to sit here and put him on the same pedestal as somebody like a Moses Atalma, who I was saying he was way better than him 3 fights ago, before the viral knockouts that we had seen over the past year or two. And performances, all of a sudden, everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. We better watch out. Tyson Fury saying something. Usyk saying something about him. Everybody's now on the train that Atalma's up next. I've been there, and I was saying this, but it was like that. And don't compare him to Torres, because Torres has not matured yet to get to this vicinity. This is the fight that he better show it. Because if he can't beat Sanchez, I sure enough don't believe he can be a champion. I sure enough don't. He's got to show some change in this fight because I'm sick of talking about him and trying to defend my position that this brother is not where he needs to be as a championship level fighter coming out of Prodigy and coming into real threat environment. And if he doesn't prove it here, I'm done arguing. Because this cat just ain't built like that in the heavyweight regime. He's a great American. He's the only other American heavyweight that we got that we can vie to say we got a future to stay in this division and have somebody that can be a fixture. He's the only one. He's the only one right now, to my knowledge. And if he can't beat Sanchez, it's going to be slim pickings for the next couple of years of how it's going to go. But I got Sanchez losing to Torres because I'm expecting Torres to prove to me exactly what this ability to take over and be the next heavyweight threat. I'm expecting that to show up and to get me the feeling of, okay, I see why he was getting talked about in the acclaim that he was. I see what his inside work is able to do against people as an undersized fighter. I see his ability to cut off the ring and decimate his opponents with pressure and power. I see the game plan and implementation against somebody who's faced off against a plethora of styles at an all-world level. I see the threat, and I can say it's real. Right now, I can't. And I hope I can. I really do. Let me see. Wise man, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our show today. Let me read your chats and see what you got going on. This fight is a win-win for Xander, whether he wins or loses. He already became unified at 154. He's going to make some good money, and he'll get better. He'll get better fighting boosts. And this is why. And see, this is why I was saying this fight needed to happen. We had Sugar Ray Leonard fought Roberto Duran at 24 years old. We had talked about this before on the channel before, but the same sentiment lies. We had seen champions early fight great fighters earlier when they were in their prime. And we're seeing that, and I'm not comparing Zayas to Sugar Ray Leonard. And I get different eras, different times, I understand. But I'm saying the mentality, the moniker still can be true. That you don't got to wait to fight somebody. You can fight them now if you're in position to. And if anything, because you fight them now, though you lose, you get better. How do you think Canelo turned into the monster that he was at 160 to beat Gennady Golovkin when Gennady Golovkin was the most awarded fighter at that point in time in the world? In the world at super middleweight. Nobody wanted to touch that brother, and he fought him twice in a row. You can argue if he should have split 1-1 instead of winning all three. Because again, the third fight, Gennady was old. Canelo was going to win that third fight. But the first two, split 1-1. That's what I think it should have been. You can argue that till the cows come home. But the fact that he was able to go in the ring with him and fight him in a Fight of the Year contender twice was all because of the fights that he had with Floyd. When he was young, Floyd was established, Floyd was a champion, Floyd was a dog, Floyd was one of the 10 best fighters in the world. I think he was one of the 5 best fighters in the world at a catchweight at 154, but yet he still went and decimated. And you got schooled. Cool. How do you grow? And he grew. And the same guy that tried to do it, or another person tried to do it, Floyd and Caleb Plant, give him trouble with the Philly shell, he broke him down and took him out. Because he learned. That's what we want. You got to learn to be better. You're never going to be perfect. If you win in your imperfection, great. It just shows how good you are. But you're not going to be perfect. The best fighter ever, Sugar Ray Robinson, was not perfect. He lost. It took him 40 fights, but he lost. And then he went 80-0, but he lost. He went 40-0, came 40-1, went 80-0 after that. And then started losing consistently up until he was like, he had already won like 120-something fights during the tail end of his career. That's when those 10 losses actually happened, late in his career. But you get what I'm saying. You got to take the test, and thankfully he's taking the test. We want this. Good gosh, it's going to be the best thing for him. It's going to be the best thing for him to grow, flourish, shine, and evolve as a fighter to keep on reaching the peaks of what we can see for his career. No question about it. But let me keep on reading you all's chats and responses. Richard Torres is from the town he was. Richard Torres is from the town. He was at my work eating a steak. Oh, look, shoot, like 4 months ago. Oh, dang. He's going to pack up Frank Sanchez. And look, I hope so. I hope so. I can imagine that buddy is a very dense man. From the standpoint of he's built like a Lego. In a good way, not in a bad way. Because, again, what, he's like 6'1"? No, he's like 6'2", I think. 6'2", or just a hair under 6'3", but that's a stocky cat. I mean, it is dense muscle. He is a powerful man. And I want to see him win. I really do. It's just, it's got to prove it. And I hope he does. That's why I'm picking him to win. Because if he does win, one, be clear, America will be through the roof. Because all of a sudden, we got some belief. It may not be Deontay Wilder, but my gosh, we got somebody in the race. I'd love that. I would love that. It would make heavyweight boxing a whole lot more prevalent over here in the States. Because a lot of people got turned off by it. They love Usyk, sure, but then they respect Usyk. They don't love him or hate him, but they respect him over here. But outside of that, it's like, we're more worried about Shakur, Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Floyd Schofield, crazy enough, strictly because the heavyweight division has lost its luster for the American populace because Deontay Wilder ain't there no more. And it's sad, but it's true. So we got somebody else in the pipe of competitiveness when it comes to watching the heavyweight world. That'd be great, and I hope we actually do see him win. Let me see. When Canelo won the belt in 2015, it was a mandatory for Gennady Golovkin. He relinquished the belt. He avoided Gennady up until he got old and still barely beat him. One time in his last fight. No, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that take. And I'm just happy that he fought him in the first place. That's my biggest thing. Because even at the tailer end, or even at the further tail end of Gennady Golovkin's prime, it was still, nobody was touching that kid. It was still, nobody was messing with him. And it's just the fact that he still rematched him almost immediately. That was like, okay, hey, I even with the circumstances of how that fight came to be, mandatory and all, relinquishing the belt and all, once you got in the ring, all right, look, I am all for being mad about the circumstances of how that fight, it should have happened sooner. But when that fight did happen, thankfully, it wasn't too far beyond the due that when that fight should be, and it produced what we thought it should have produced. Thank gosh. Thank goodness. I mean, imagine if he waited any longer. And the first fight that we had was up until the third fight of Canelo. Or that date. That would have been hard. That's why I'm just happy it happened. Because at that point in time, with the landscape of boxing, oh gosh. Oh, for super fights, the consistency of getting the fights that we wanted, it was not nearly as well operating as we got now. I'm just glad we got it when we got it. That's my thing. But hold on. Wait a minute. That brings up a question. I lost my train of thought, but I got it back. I had a question about Canelo that I did want to ask because it kind of revolved around the idea of him at 168. Could Canelo move back down to get a fight at 160 against somebody if he so chose? Or is he stuck at this division? Now, I only ask that because with the density of people at 168 now, Shiraz's fighting this weekend, Adamas again being there, him fighting in Billy at 168 to get ready to have their press conference, I think tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Or is it next week? I can't remember. When is their press conference with Canelo and Billy to officially kick off the fight night hype and production? I can't remember exactly when when the exact day is. But it's going down, it's happening regardless. But I only ask that because Boots Ennis, more specifically, has said that he wants to go and conquer multiple divisions and fight and do all this stuff. Perfectly fine. Understandable. If there was a fight I would want to see, since we probably won't get Crawford versus Boots, it would be interesting to see if we got a Boots versus Canelo fight, hypothetically. However, would Boots be able to make it up there in time to 168? And if not, would Canelo be willing to come back to 160 or do a catchweight to drop down and take a fight with the likes of Boots? Hypothetically. Again, dream scenarios. Like I said, started Shaw with the dream scenario of Bam being able to fight at 135. If I could have my say, because of how good I see Bam as, I would love to see him, especially with him being so young, get to that level if he chooses to fight at that high of a danger standpoint. Because I think he can actually accomplish it. But again, that's a dream. Dream for me. See how that sparring would look. To go from sparring to straight up boxing. Canelo, Boots, big fight of, if you want to be better than Crawford, can you do what Crawford did? Would that be a fight that could actually be feasible? Impossible. With Boots wanting to move up and conquer stuff, but Canelo being on the tail end of his career, we want to get that fight happening as much or as closely as we can before he walks away. That's why I said the catchweight 160 could it be a thing. I'm not trying to just go and belligerently do something. I'm saying this because I want to see the trajectory of Boots at the big end of the spectrum with these bigger fights transpire. Because let's be clear about this. Beyond just the rooms of 154, beyond just the catalyst of Zayas, Boots, unification, and all that stuff, the reason why this is such a big deal with Zayas and Boots, and if Boots wins, becoming a champion unified at 154, it starts the run to continue the slope of wanting to become undisputed at 4 separate weight classes. First it was 147, then it was 154, then it was 160 and 168. He said that, I think, in a tweet and or an interview. And now, he didn't get it at 147, but at 154, 160, 168, it's viable. And because it's viable, we got to look at the names we potentially had to go through to get to that catalyst. And one of those names could, in fact, be Canelo, if he chooses to move up quick and try to make stuff happen while handling his business quick here at 154. That's why I'm bringing this up. Not just because, it's content. No, it's real. Because that's the end of the spectrum that we have to look at. If he does go to that extreme, is it feasible that we can get these types of fights? More importantly, why are we talking about this? Because he's already been set up as there ain't nobody that can beat him below 168. Be clear, that's been the rhetoric surrounding Boots since he really started dominating at 147 and the later stages before going up to 154. Oh, this brother's a killer. Oh, this man's on the level of Terrence Crawford. He'll beat Terrence Crawford, even though he wouldn't, but he'll beat Terrence Crawford wherever that fight takes place. And he'll go in through 154. He'll go and decimate 154 once he gets there. And then after that, Canelo, we coming for you too. That's been a legitimate rung of ladder that the public has been saying Boots will cross into. And that's been the hype around it. It's been that fervent. Boots is looked at as the only people that can really test him potentially are below or at 175. That's what some people feel. Crazy enough, that's what a large swath of people feel. They can talk. I guarantee you, if you get to the actual psyches of a lot of fans, they'll say, ooh, 168, that's a big jump. He may run into some problems against X, Y, Z. But I promise you, if you got down to the heart of what a lot of people felt with Boots, their real feelings about Boots, what they actually see Boots being able to accomplish, the true essence of what they think Boots will be by the time his career is done, they will tell you themselves, if you got the truth out of them actually, he won't get beaten to 175. I'm serious. A lot of people, they'll feel like Boots won't get beat until he gets to 175. They won't say it out loud. They won't perpetuate that idea outright. But listen to how they talk about this man, and I'm telling you, most of them feel like 168 may be a test if he gets up there. But probably the real danger only starts for them until he gets to 175 because of the amount of talent that they see Boots having, which I understand. But that's part of the reason why this main character syndrome, I don't say that in a bad way, but this main character propulsion of Boots against the world is talked about in this vein. You see social media, putting this man's the greatest thing since sliced bread, hyping him up in the same way people hype up Tank. Translative beatings is what they're saying he's going to be able to do against anybody that comes his way. There's nobody bigger, there's nobody stronger, all this other stuff. Yeah, they're number one in the world for now. But once Boots gets the accolades, it's going to be a wrap. Nobody's better than this man. I promise you. That's why the expectations of this fight with Zayas, to some degree, it's not skewed, but it sure enough is heavy. That they expect Boots. As much as people say, it's going to be a competitive fight, Zayas is going to show you something different. Sure. But they always categorize it with, but Zayas just ain't ready. That's not just because, they think that Zayas is just too young. It's because the expectation is Boots is going to knock him out in 6 rounds and do exactly what he did, or 6 to 8 rounds, do what he did to Stanionis to the likes of Zayas, but do it in an even more shocking way. I'm serious. That's the atmosphere for a lot of people surrounding Boots, because the expectation is Murderer's Row is Murderer's Row, but you can be the biggest killer out here. And when you do come out this, it's going to be what we all thought. Can't nobody beat you up until you get to 175. That's the silent, it's not a silent agreement, but it's an undertone of acceptance that people are expecting to be validated in. I'm serious. I am serious. Because I'll say this right now. Terrence Crawford, when he moved up to 168, had a lot of concerns with people saying, that's way too big. He's going to lose to Canelo outright. It's too strong. It's too, look at what happened when he got to 154. You saw the struggle. You saw the issue. You saw he almost got beat by Majimov, even though he won by unanimous decision, deservedly so. It was a close fight that you had to work hard against. Canelo is going to be able to do all that and more against you. There's nothing you can do against that type of power, that size, with comparable speed and a durability that you can't hurt him. You're good, but you just ain't built like that. That was the conversation with Canelo versus Crawford. A lot of detraction. Mind you, even I picked Canelo to win up until the last week. And when I made my final pick, I changed it. And I said, you know what? I think Crawford can pull it out. You can go look up on the stream, or you can go look up on the past episodes. I said it. I did a whole breakdown. And I changed. I said, you know what? I think it's going to be the same instances of what we saw with Spence of turning your biggest weapon against you. He's going to do that against Canelo too. And he's going to be able to outbox him and beat him. Outright beat him. He's going to be stronger than you think. He's going to be quicker than you realize. He's going to be more durable than you ever imagined. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. And he rocked him in the 12th round. Thankfully, I called it. Hey, pat myself on the back. Cool. But again, that's not a bragging situation. I'm saying everybody was against him because they were like, the physical, tangible essence is too much for you to overcome. And now with Boots, I'm not hearing that much pushback about him moving up and being able to do stuff at divisions. The biggest thing is the experience. The names are the people that are making people feel Boots can't succeed because he hasn't faced off against talent that is comparable in many people's eyes. But the skills and the physical makeup, nobody has any concern with. I guarantee you bring up Boots at 168, it's a lot more people that are going to be more accepting of, hey, that can happen. And it's not just because, oh, if Crawford did it, Boots can do it. Many people felt that Boots was a better physical athlete than Crawford. Stronger, faster, better twitchy, more instinctual. All the physical abilities, many people felt Boots was better than Crawford. And skill-wise, Crawford was better than Boots. And for a majority, that still bodes through now. And though they say skills pays the bills, which is still true, the physical makeup of Boots has made it so that will wash away a whole lot of wrongdoing. Wash away a whole bunch of sins that he commits inside the ring and that he would potentially be at risk of against these higher weight classes strictly because he's that much of a dominant physical force. And oh my gosh, yeah, 168, he can make it just fine. You see him in the ring at 154, look at how big he already is. My goodness. Let him open up his ability to gain weight. Lord knows what he can do. That has been the consensus undertone of Boots. And the believability of him to get to those thresholds is a lot more tangible than what people wanted to believe from Terrence Crawford. So the expectation is not, are you good enough to prove that you are what you are? It's more so, we're just waiting for you to get up here. But the belief is already instilled for many. Not all, but for many. And the reality of you can go and transcend divisions is a whole lot more feasible in people for Boots, because the shock and awe of the physical essence of Boots still captivates the minds to the point that people get blinded, not negatively in this connotation, but blinded by the flash. And there ain't nobody able to stop him. That's why I'm saying 168 Canelo type fights I may be early, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be wrong that this is going to be a fight that people are going to be saying, well, he could actually see it. It could be possible. These same questions, they going to come up. Again, I may be early, but I'm pretty sure that I ain't going to be wrong, that we're going to see these types of conversations come, and they might come up after we see the likes of Diaz. At minimum, after Fundora. Because let's look at the timetable. Boots fights Zayas. Boots beats Zayas. If that happens, great. Boots is unified champion. Boots still can't get Ortiz, so Boots fights Fundora or Josh Kelly. Cool. Boots wins, and finally he gets the fight with Fundora. Or potentially even before Josh Kelly, he gets Fundora or Ortiz. Most likely Fundora. Any of those combination things happen. And he wins 2 fights against 2 people that got belts. It's going to be, you think I'm playing. They're going to say skip 160. Go straight to 168. They're still trying to figure out who can be a champion. You can go and beat all 4 people for the belt right now. I promise you. I promise you. Because the expectation for Boots is different. The expectation for Boots is different. It's just different. They call him another, the biggest equator to Terrence Crawford in terms of they don't fight the same, but in terms of the separation in skill. But the expectation is different. It is. They ain't making excuses. Not making any arguments. It's just straight up. He's just better than everybody else. And if after Zayas, you're going to probably hear this type of stuff. Can he be stopped at once? Can anybody beat him at 154? That's going to be the number one question. Number two, should he just move up? Does he even need to fight undisputed? Should he just fight Fundora and then move up to another division? Get him or Ortiz, or after those two fights, don't waste time if you're going for undisputed. Forget Josh Kelly. Just straight up go and move up. That's going to be question number two. And question number three is ultimately, can he be undisputed at 168? Because they're going to say 160 isn't filled with talent. Everybody moved out of 160. There's no money except for Arizona Lara. Because Janibek's banned right now, or suspended, excuse me, for drug use and popping dirty. There's no money at 160. There's no reason to fight at 160. Lara doesn't have all the belts. Janibek is gone. There's no big names. All the other respectable names have moved up to 168 like Carlos Adames. So why don't you do the same? Forget this. Jump the gun. Go and take on the belts. Go and take on either the Mbillis, Canelos, or Shirazes of super middleweight. And go get your money and make your cachet there. That's going to be question number three. Will he do it? Mark my words, what's going to happen. Either after Xander or after Fundora, it's going to be the case. Because people, they may say he can be undisputed, but they're like, why waste time? They're going to say, why waste time? The complete opposite of Crawford, when it was get all the belts on your side of the street before you can even have a chance to fight against the best of the best. Now it's going to be for Boots. Why waste time here? Because we already know the outcome. You're going to win. That's what the public opinion is going to be. For a large swath of people that watch Jaron Ennis fight, if he beats Xander Zayas, especially in the fashion that everybody thinks he's going to beat him, which is dominant knockout in the same way that they saw when he knocked out Ramon Villa, when he knocked out Stanionis, in the same way he's been putting people to sleep in a way that has everybody saying, ooh, this man different. He's going to do the same thing there. He desires. That's what the expectation is. And then we see that transpire. And then the conversations start and the questions that I guarantee you, you may think they're insane. They're going to be asked. Sean Porter Podcast probably going to bring it up. Showbiz probably going to bring it up. Blue Blood, inside the ring, LaShawn McCoy, Max Kellerman, they probably going to bring it up. Because the expectation is different. Because the believability is different. It's not better, but it's different. And he ticks all the boxes that people want to be ticked when it comes to somebody being just so unstoppable. He looks the part, he fights the part, and he's built like the part that makes everything else seem like, that doesn't matter. Unlike with other boxers. All three. He's from Philly. He can eat a punch. He got a beard. He can be eccentric in the ring. All that stuff. He's got everything that checks everything for the main stuff that makes people believe that somebody is so undeniable. It's the Tyson Fury. It's the Mike Tyson effect. Now, Mike Tyson lived up to the expectation when he was in its prime. But, again, out before the fall off. But Mike Tyson was seen as the baddest man on the planet before he ever won a title. When he got the title, he finally got the claim. But there's no point in anybody trying. Nobody can beat him. He's so ferocious. He looks like a brick wall. He talks like a killer. He walks like a killer. He fights like a killer. And he looks like he's killing people in the ring. And the style in which he's doing it is so ferocious that no matter what other questions we may even think to have, it doesn't matter. Because he checks the boxes that we want to see checked. So give him the crown already. And inevitably he got it and deserved it. But he was already being talked about in that vein. That's what I'm saying Boots is at right now. We've seen other fighters have that too. Where they fit the bill of somebody, oh, they just look so incredible. Oh, they can do no wrong because the specifics of the boxes that they want get checked. It doesn't matter that Boots can get caught. It doesn't matter that Boots gets lax defensively. It doesn't matter that Boots had trouble with movers, has had trouble with elusive fighters, has had trouble with getting tagged by people that can fight on the back foot. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you can actually go and take the power of a Boots. You can actually have some good exchanges with him, like with Shukajan in the pocket. Doesn't matter. He's gotten better, yes, since those fights in terms of Boots Ennis. But still, those same pitfalls for many people, it didn't matter. Why? Because the visual test of checking boxes to tell your mind, I know what I'm seeing, this man's the truth, quelled any other questions that may need it to arise. And it makes the believability of doing the impossible even more feasible, like going to 168. That's why I'm saying I'm bringing it up. Because he's going to go and get this. If he beats Zayas, mark my words, we're going to see before Fundora, before he ever fights Ortiz, we're going to see inside the ring and every one of your favorite analysts, podcasters, and television personalities bring up, can he go and fight Canelo? Because they're going to skip him past the rest of the division. They will acknowledge Fundora. They'll acknowledge Ortiz, but they will already skip him by the rest of the division because they're going to say, he's so good. I don't see anybody beating him. I'm not trying to lambast the sentiment. I'm simply saying he's going to get pushed early because of that. I don't think he should be pushed like that, but I'm going to ask the question because that's what's coming down the line. I may be early, but I'm not going to be wrong. Might be early, but I ain't going to be wrong. Eventually, I'm going to be right. It may not come immediately, but I guarantee you, I'm going to be right. And I just want you to watch the rhetoric because I want you to understand this man's getting crowned well beyond his divisions in an undercurrent of agreement with a lot of people. I'm not talking about some cabal or some uber secret type thing. I'm saying for the ethos of boxing fans as a whole, Boots is already, though they don't say it out loud, and by they, I mean journalists, analysts, and fans like you and me. Those specific people, are already feeling a sense of this man is just untouchable. And even though this is a threat at 154, the only question that they had is, could he be a fighter that has a pedigree, has a background, and is legitimately seen as good across the board? If he does that, that's going to be the last question that is going to stop them from saying what belligerent things he can do. And I say belligerent in a good way. And it's going to be, forget 154, 168. Move him up already. LaShawn McCoy will probably be the first one to say it. He'll probably be the first one to say it. Watch. What? He'll probably be the first one to say he won't get beat until 175. Watch. I'm not saying whether I agree or disagree. I'm simply saying that's what's coming. It's what's coming. If this fight goes his way and doesn't in dominant fashion. And is it fair? I don't know, but I guarantee you that's how the boxing world's gonna move. Let me see. Also, DJ, producer DJ, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Salute to you, and we appreciate you being on our show. Hopefully you're enjoying it on the live. And again, this is the championship rounds of our show. We talk about anything and everything in the boxing world and beyond. Your questions, your comments, your concerns, your debates on anything you want to discuss, whether it is with the Usyk card, whether it is with Inoue and his future, Bam and what he's going to do and how far he can push his career and in terms of the heights that he can reach potentially. If you want to talk about Teofimo Lopez more and his viability at 147 as a contender, though he's gotten lost in the shuffle somewhat with the identities of Keyshawn Davis, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, all of whom seem like they should be on the collision course, but we don't know if they're actually on the fight against each other. We want to hear from you in all respects, in or outside of the world of boxing. Like I said, this show's edition of the Welch Report is a championship rounds. The whole show is dedicated to you, the viewers and fans, but we're going to go as long as you choose to go. Like I said, I can touch on stuff absolutely, but we're not going to overstay our welcome. You all control the flow of this show and everything that we discuss on our airways today specifically. And then we come back on Tuesday, and then we come back on Thursday and Friday. We do the show 3 days out the week, and we do live stream commentaries as well. I don't know if we're going to be able to live stream Usyk. I don't know if we're going to be able to live stream the Usyk Rico fight, because I'm going to be moving places. Not like moving from here, but like, you know, we're going to be out and about that same day, so I might not be able to come back and do it all for that weekend. Low key, I kind of don't want to, because that fight, yeah, I'm not really invested in it. But like I said, we don't want to bemuse the people. If we can, we'll do it. But hey, we'll see what happens. But let me see what you all got to say. Let me see. That Usyk fight has no hype yet. See, and like I said, it doesn't, because for good reason. For good reason. People don't care. People, why would they care? Like I said, the whole thing was you should have fought. We didn't want you to fight Deontay Wilder. I would have taken Deontay Wilder 10 times over this fight with Rico. I would have. The Bronze Bomber versus Usyk to beat the last of the three kings of boxing. I would have taken that every day of the week. Every day of the week. I'd take that over this. Not even close. This is disgusting. It's terrible. I hate that this fight's happening. Yes, in Egypt, they got all the people. They got Canelo and Billy. They got AJ all standing around looking in the desert. They got the pyramids. The scenery looks beautiful. And I don't doubt, hopefully they didn't work they paid their workers, their construction workers, proper wages, unlike what they did, not what they did, but unlike what FIFA did in Qatar, making people work for pennies on the dollar. It's ridiculous. I hope they paid them right for building that stadium so quickly. And again, so beautifully. But it seems like they set up the backdrop to be incredible. I'm fine with the location. It's just the fact that the fight itself just shouldn't be happening. Even with, even with me saying, and the public saying, we were okay with Usyk taking a tune-up, because every fight was not going to be rah-rah, nip and tuck, top 10, top 5, second best in the world that Usyk's going to be fighting. He already did that. He literally fought the 3 best current and former champions 6 times collectively and beat them all. Beat them all. He literally beat everybody. So I get it. An easy fight. I just wish it was against an actual boxer, because it's still the sport. It's still the sport. And you're still in a position where you are unflinching and unbeatable. You're still crazy enough. We can call this still the prime of Usyk, because it doesn't look like he's slowed down much at all. He's 38 years old, but he doesn't look like, it's like with Crawford. There's no real shakiness at this point in time when it comes to looking at Usyk still potentially taking hold, taking the reins, and being able to be dominant and incredible in the ring. So I just don't. It's like, it's a struggle. And we shouldn't be excited for this fight. I'll be clear, we should not be excited for this fight. Doesn't have the crossover appeal of McGregor versus Mayweather. Doesn't have the believability of McGregor versus Mayweather. It doesn't have the barbs that are being thrown. And crazy enough, there's more at risk in this fight because the actual heavyweight title is on the line. Lineal and WBC. And potentially all the other belts as well. Like, this is actually a world title fight. And it should not be. Like, at all. Tyson Fury wasn't even a legit world championship fight. Now, the lineal belt is always on the line in a sanctioned bout. Be clear. That belt, the lineage of the heavyweight title, going from the man who beat the man who beat the man, that always translates through. But the belts, the tangible belts, they weren't on the line. Now they are. I hate it. I hate it, and it shouldn't have hype. It should not. It should not have hype in this fight because we know that it's gonna be bad. I mean, we can. I don't think I can play the sound because of the copyright. But like, dude, I mean, take a look. Like, just look at this. The stare down, the physical stature, and all that stuff. All of this. Like I said, I can't play the sound because again, I believe it's copyrighted music. It's owned by the zone, so I don't have the luxury to play the elements of that. But this is the zone that this is for matchroom boxing, and the zone that this is from. And like, I don't care how big Rico looks. I don't care how imposing Rico may try to feel or sing or try to scare a hole into Usyk's eyes. It doesn't matter. Why? Because this is a fight that shouldn't be a contest.
Against Tyson Fury,
this isn't knows.
He's not fighting someone with an Olympic background.
They'll have some fun. Rico will try. Usyk will try after round 2.
What's he thinking?
I
And then we'll see him knock him out in round 4.
He's so much of a professional. He's been at these big moments so
Rico's
many times.
Rico's what, 155? Usyk is weighed in at 134. I think the heaviest he's ever weighed in his career.
Like nothing less than a professional.
But I do think they are observing each other and
Why?
they're trying to read each other. And
Probably
they're trying to
because
see
I
little
dare to say, I don't know, you might not
microexpressions
be training as
they're
hard
not
because normally he
getting
comes in at
it, right?
122,
They're just-
125.
They're going to have to put a hand in
Normally.
there to stop that one.
Or he may just
Every
say,
single
I can
face
afford a
or
little bit
stare
more
down
muscle
should have
because I ain't
rocky
got to
music.
move around as
Yes.
much
Everything
against
else
this
should be
brother
back.
who ain't going to have great
This is-
feet.
this
He ain't
is
going to have a great
it. This
jab.
one now,
He's going
this
to
is
be
going on
doing
a minute now.
combinations that
And
are
we'll keep going. This is an energy
kickboxer
drink. Who's
level,
gonna look away
not a
first? Who's
professional
gonna-
boxer
mean
level.
anything?
And I'll be
Does
able
it
to
mean
see it and
something?
easily get through, mitigate it, block most of the stuff, and then work you out, take you down, not take you down, but work you out, put you down, and keep you down. So no, this fight should not be entertaining. It should not be investing in your interest because it shouldn't be happening in the first place. Now, after this, that's why we had to ask Usyk versus Usyk versus Dubois, Usyk versus AJ, Usyk versus Fury, who's going to be next? We hope it's Caballero, if anything, because he deserved a shot more than anything on the dossier. He deserved a shot more than anything on the situation. And so the world is on my desk. There we go. Okay, my bad. I thought I saw something hit my thing. No, that was just a I'm sorry. See, if you didn't know, previously we had ourselves a bug. I think like a year ago. Like skirt by on my wall. Look, I keep myself clean. Okay, I keep myself pristine. However, normally we last time we had a bug on that wall, and and like over like a year ago, and somehow we got through. That thing skirted on by, brother. I lost my mind and had to keep my composure on camera. Mind you, my room was clean now. That's why it was so unexpected. And I thought I saw that again, and I was like, Lord knows I'm not having this happen again. That's why I went and just straight up, boom. Thankfully, it was just a piece of lint. Like I said, we keep it clean over here. We are not dusty and dirty like we've seen with some of these other streamers. Not your favorite streamers. No, I'm talking about like the Asmongold's of the world. If you're familiar, if you're familiar with that, thank gosh we ain't like that. But all that is to say, this fight's not gonna be close. This fight should not hold your interest. If Usyk loses this fight, the amount of rhetoric that's going to come his way is going to be deserved because it shouldn't happen. And we hope and pray after this fight, this buddy keeps to his word and says, I want titles, so he's going to get some titles. He's going to go back and run some smoke. He's going to come back and run the table. And hopefully, these last 3 fights, it's not just 3 fights. Because guess what? We want to see you against more smoke. We want to see you against the Talman, if it's possible. Caballero, because it's deserved, and I believe it's a mandatory, and then potentially get you a fight with either a third fight with Tyson Fury, a rematch with the likes of Anthony Joshua, the new revamped Anthony Joshua that you've been training, or even better, or even more outlandish but still possible, you can get a fight with David Benavidez. hey, to defend your belts at heavyweight. If he doesn't, in fact, choose to move up and fight at heavyweight. Who wouldn't want to see that as a potential spectacle? Because he already showed he can be one of the best cruiserweights in the world. Arguably, people are saying it's going to be hard to see anybody, even Jaya Pataya beat him. We got some names that we want to see Usyk fight still. That right now, we don't want you leaving this sport without you getting them. Even though, yeah, you've already done so much great stuff. We don't question the legacy or the heart or the drive to go and compete. No doubt. But we also don't want to have this be part of the reason that you go out with a less than stellar end to your career strictly because of the moves that you made that many of the fans look down upon. Because sadly, what we have to remember about this sport, and I've said it countless times before, the boxing world continues to only have a short-term memory. What have you done for me lately? That is the thing that drives the boxing populace. That is the regime of talent that drives the discourse in conversation. That is the metric that most fans buy into and wholeheartedly just straight up believe. Whatever what they saw last is what they remember for the rest of the moment in time, especially if that's the last swan song. For many, that's why Crawford retiring, all of a sudden they're saying, hey man, this brother's one of the best I've ever seen, and he deserves to be there. But the fairy tale ending of sorts also helps the perception. Michael Jordan retiring after his 6th title, or retiring after his 3rd straight title in the first three-peat, helped the perception. It really did. It made everybody see like, oh my gosh, wow, insane. Kobe, already established and insane. Ridiculous as a talent, one of the 10 best players we've ever seen in basketball history. That 60-point game that he had as the final game in his career was one of the greatest swan songs we had ever seen, and even further cemented the legacy, lineage, and the evidential iconic status that Kobe would have for the rest of his life. And even subsequently afterwards, with him sadly passing away. The last moment is one of the most important moments. The Boys, for example, which I haven't even seen fully in the series. Apparently, they just had their last episode, or the season finale. And just like with Lost, just like with other shows throughout television history, Game of Thrones as well, the last thing that they see is a thing that sets the tone for how that series will be remembered, regardless of all the great work that was done beforehand. And Game of Thrones had 6 phenomenal seasons, or 7 phenomenal seasons in the 8th and last season. This is terrible. I can't believe it ended that way. Negated everything that happened before. That's what can happen if you end it off on a sour note. Not all the time, but oftentimes. The ending tells a big chunk of a story that, man, it's not the entirety, but it does have an effect. That's what I don't want Usyk to run into. And I want him to go out. Wins or defeat, go out doing what you've been doing. Taking on tests and pushing the envelope. And even if you take it easy, just take it easy against a fighter that's actually a fighter. A boxer that's a boxer. That's all. I get the move. He's in position to make this type of money. I get it. He deserves an easy fight with all the fights he had taken beforehand. I get it. I just don't. I just don't like it. That's just me. Anybody else but Rico. That's all I'm saying. Anybody else but Rico. That's it. That is it. But like we said, we still got more stuff that we can cover on this show. We don't want to hold you on for any longer unless you got more stuff you want to discuss. Mind you, we don't just talk boxing on this show. We can also touch on the world of the NBA as well, if you didn't know. Because we also got to see the Knicks play the Cavs, and the Knicks were up on a 2-0 lead. Yes, sir. If you haven't been in the world of the NBA, you need to get your butt on the ball because this is real. This is legit. And this can be one of the most exciting things that we have in the world of sports as a whole. I have never thought I'd live to see the day to see the Knicks be 2 wins away from the finals. Mind you, last time they won finals, it was in the 90s. Patrick Ewing, John Starks, and that whole crew. Now, they're all old. They're all courtside. They all wear fedoras, crazy enough, and all of them are dapping each other up like they back on the floor because now the Knicks are on a 2-0 lead against Cleveland, routing Cleveland out in the second game after having a 22-point comeback in their first game. This is pandemonium in a way that I never thought I would see. And mind you, this is going to be the best opportunity that they get. And we've been saying this for about 3 years, to get to the finals. I'm not saying winning it, just getting there. Because this has been a organic growth of a team. Through the draft, through trades, through work, grit and grind, Tom Thibodeau era, all that stuff, 48 minutes, nobody getting breaks. Karl Anthony Towns actually turning from the player that he was in Minnesota to an even better big over here in New York City, even though, he did play well last game. It's been now under the guise of James Dolan. And I say guys because he's been a terrible owner for the majority of his career. Throwing out Charles Oakley, sabotaging this team, hiring Phil Jackson as general manager, and him sucking and then keep on continuing the cycle of pain, stress, terrible draft picks, or trading away draft picks that could have worked. It's been terrible. It's been horrible. It's been one of the worst run organizations in the whole of the NBA for the last 10 plus years. He's the reason why KD didn't go to New York. He's the reason why Kyrie didn't go to New York. He's the reason why most of the big players that could have played somewhere didn't go to New York because of the management of the Knicks. Thank gosh Dolan finally stepped back. He's still a problem. Thank goodness he at least stepped back and let this team work like it needed to work. And now we've gone through all the trials and tests, losing seasons and bags over their head. The Garden being the best place for everybody else in sports except for the Knicks. Now New York is buzzing in a way that I haven't seen in a mighty long time. This is worse, and I say worse in a good way, because they are tearing that city up for all the right reasons. Worse than what it was with Trae Young. It's worse than what it was with Tyrese Halliburton. This is fueled not by hate, but by belief. They are in the midst of something that their own great-grandparents and potentially some people's parents have died before seeing the day that they won or even got to a finals game. We're looking at a landscape where after this, if they just get to the finals, the viability of stars going to New York elevate even more. People wanting to go and stay there because now y'all built something that can actually last. They got it. And all the big players potentially saying, hey, you know what? I would love to sign somewhere. The pressure of LA is nice, but also the city's pretty good. Now, New York, y'all got some stability. I don't want to sign with Brooklyn. I'll come over here. It's all there. The future is bigger than just the title. It is the whole of this team's viability to stay not just relevant, but get better. And get stars to actually see them as a viable opportunity. This is ridiculous. And mind you, the way that they're beating the Cavs is the fact that this game, they literally pulled away after the second half. Unlike the close-knit quarters where it was tit for tat, couldn't get a stop, couldn't get anything. Jared Allen was in purgatory. Donovan Mitchell kept on trying to do heroics, but he just couldn't get it done. Tyson, for Cleveland, Tyson was somebody who was coming up clutch with some good shots, great threes, and timely buckets, but even then it wasn't enough. You have people like, I think it was, is it Burrell, white brother on Cleveland, who normally is supposed to be a three-point shooter, went 1 for 8 on the night. I think like 2 for 9 as a whole on the game. Terrible. It's more so, it's not just that they're in a box. It's the fact that the Knicks are playing better. than what had been for the last 2 years the second best team in the East. Because it was Boston, Cleveland, and everybody else in the Eastern Conference. Giannis could have been there, but again, most of the time Dame was injured or his team was injured or he was injured. The Magic, they weren't good, or they were getting better and evolving, but they weren't there yet. Toronto, they weren't there yet. They made some moves, but they weren't there yet. They were in the running. The Hornets, just now, they made the play for the last 2 years. This team, this season, they look the most potent they'd ever been, having the largest winning streak on the year, going like 27 and 5 towards the end of the season. But they're still growing and developing as an organization. Miami's, we don't know what's going to happen with them because after Bam's 81, they just dropped in the bucket. The Wizards got AD and Trae Young, but both of them were injured and stayed out for the rest of the season. Now with AJ Diabate being able to come and be drafted against them, the Wizards look like they can be something serious next season. But in the East as a whole, it's been New York, Celtics, New York, Boston, Cleveland, Philly amongst that top 4 and 5. But it's been a big gap between Boston, Cleveland, relative to everybody else. And we're seeing the Knicks legit just straight up outplay them, out-rebound them, out-hustle them. We're talking defense now. Getting turnovers, scoring buckets. Jalen Brunson, again, showing up as a leader. Bud didn't even have the best game. Didn't he have 20 points in this game? He had 38 points game 1. He had like 19 game 2. 19, 21 points game 2 in the game they won, but they still won by like 20 or won by like 15. Significantly, this team is running and working, and they are cohesive. The best thing about Cleveland was their chemistry, similar to Boston. And the leadership of Donovan Mitchell being the driving engine, and the twin towers on defense and rebounding that were Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley being able to stretch the 3, and Jarrett Allen being a lob threat, a decent offensive post player, and ultimately the anchor to cause turnovers and make some stops and protect the paint as a whole. And then Mobley on the outside being the more being the more crafty 7-footer with a decent ball handle, the ability to shoot the 3 and the mid-range, and be able to attack the basket off the dribble if he gets a lane and beats somebody like a big man who is normally slower than him. So that team's got an identity. They've been able to rout every other opponent. And now the Knicks, of all teams that we thought would normally fold under pressure, they getting it done. More than getting it done, but they might sweep this team. Now I know. Oh, y'all said it. I said they might sweep. I said the Spurs might sweep OKC, and they lost to OKC. Now, granted, that game, the fouls were terrible. The calls were horrible. It was one of the most blatant, and it's been talked about now by every other outlet. It's been one of the most blatant signifiers that the way that this game is being reffed and this team is being able to play is not good for this game. The sport as a whole. A lot of fraudulent claims of why their success has been able to be successful has been apparent. Mark my words, game 3 in San Antonio, if the calls don't go their way, like I think it's going to be more mitigated against OKC, we're going to see exactly, truth may come to light. I'm expecting that game to be called a little more fairer by the refs and a lot less of, you can pull my arm out of socket and it ain't a foul, but I brush against you, all of a sudden it's a tech. It's going to be a lot less of that in San Antonio. So we're going to see these fraudulent claims of a foul-carried team are true for OKC. That's different. This team straight up is just outplaying them. And now we can say, like we said yesterday, if they lose game 2, we should now be worried about the effects of game 1. And now it should be true. Now we should be panicking. We should be panicking now. We should be panicking now. We absolutely should, because this is now, we're in a code red situation. It ain't code yellow, it's code red, because Cleveland kept it close until halftime and pulled away, and Knicks pulled away in the third quarter. And then the demoralization began. Everybody felt out of whack. You had people doing pirouettes in the paint. Well, granted, that was more so, that was Mitchell Robinson. But You had people losing the ball, feeling like they were being rushed. The offense of Cleveland was feeling more and more desperate. We got to get something going. And the trying to make it, Kenny Atkinson was even calling timeouts whenever the Knicks were making runs. He was trying to be better, but it is to no avail. And I think, like somebody said earlier, that game one, it affected this team to some degree because it's the posture of Cleveland. It's a my gosh, this can't be happening type situation. We were right there. And now we're down. Worse, we should be the better team. And we can't do the same type of comeback to close a lead like they did. And we had more time, and it was a closer game. And now we're going back to our home territory. And hey, yeah, we can tie it up, but we couldn't take a game in the Garden. That's a big deal. We could not take a game in the Garden. We couldn't take a game against the Knicks, who, again, this is the closest. Every time we've seen them play, no, most of the time they fumble because somebody fails. We could not make this team ruin their own chances at their home court, where normally every other superstar is able to show up and shine. They've taken back what normally is everybody else's abode of greatness. Jordan put up 55. LeBron put up 40, I think, in that thing. We had countless people saying, I love playing in the Garden. It's in the energy, it's just there. Even though I'm away, it doesn't matter. And all of a sudden now that same energy is being used against them. Because again, the team and the fans, they believe. And I do too. I'm not going to say they sweep them, but I am going to say the Knicks are going to win. And it's that game one, because of what happened in game two, yeah, it did take effect. And it's going to be one of the most important games in this series, however long it goes, because that demoralizing nature, it's stuck now. It's stuck. I said wait till game two to see if it sticks, depending on how they're able to bounce back and still play their game. They can't play their game. Not right now. They're going to have to make some real overhauls and mental changes, and players that normally are just, we'll take a bucket or two, you're going to have to step up. Miro can't be 2 for 9 again. We can't be relying on Tyson alone to be the guy to be the other man to get buckets. That's why OKC is so good, because they got Alex Caruso or Mitchell to be able to go and be that other bucket getter offensively. That if a run starts going, we can rely on you to be a man to come and not save the day, but keep the pace with us. Now again, I said it before and I say it again, Caruso is not going to be able to keep up that 26, 18-point type of performances while playing as hard as he is on defense. He ain't going to be able to keep that up for 7 games. Most likely. Same thing's going to be for Cleveland, but this time it's the opposite. You need somebody to take that Alex Caruso role to help be that other X-factor option to why this team is successful. Because Donovan Mitchell, as great as he is, and that brother is a bad man, it ain't going to be enough. It ain't going to be enough. Jerry Allen is not going to be the guy that can give you 20 points like he was when Mitchell was off the floor, when Mitchell was injured, due to the fact that he's got an actual big body down there. And he got some size down low in terms of the Knicks. This Cleveland in game 3, it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how Cleveland works in game 3. And if they win game 3, the Knicks win game 3, whoo, this could be bad. This could be bad. If they win game 3 in the same fashion that they won game 2, where they pull away We might be able to wrap this series up. And we might be able to just say, hey, bring out the brooms and sweep the red carpet because the Knicks are going to the finals. Hopefully we can say that, but again, only time will tell as we continue to see the games, to see the playoffs unfold. But look, we don't want to overstay our welcome because we're at 2 hours and 30 minutes. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about in the world of sports as a whole, whether it's boxing, basketball, or anything else under the sun, movies, television, video games, and all other? Like, we're here to entertain the masses. We want to hear from you in every walk of life and regard. We want to make sure that you can have yourself be entertained, enthralled, learn some stuff, laugh, enjoy, or have some discussions and question me about whatever you want if you so choose. But if there's, well, actually, let me hit the button real quick so we can make sure we actually get it right. We're going to do the last call to see if anybody else has anything that they would like to say, so we can make sure that we give you all ample opportunity to make your presence felt on our show today. Last time for any type of conversations, questions, debates, concerns, anything under the sun, hot takes that you want to get off, opinions that you want to have at your leisure to come and throw at me to see how I feel about them. Whatever you got to say, you can say it now. If you have nothing else to say, hey, we ain't going to hold you any longer. We're going to wrap this show up, sitting at home, and get on out of here. And we appreciate you joining in on our show with us today. But we have to go and end this show with a bang and let you all enjoy the rest of your celebratory weekends. I know I will, because I can't wait to have myself some time to sleep, some time to recover, and some time, hey, to try out some new things all across the city, at least for me anyway. But we're going to wrap this show up and get out of here and let you all enjoy the rest of your weekend if nobody else has anything that they would like to say. So with all of that being said, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, Jean-Louis. We appreciate all of you coming in and supporting our show, being a part of our humble abode of a community together. We appreciate the love and support, and we appreciate all of you being a part of our stream today. If you would leave a like on the video before you get on out of here, it makes a world of difference to us. Comment your thoughts and opinions on what you like and didn't like about the show, so we can keep on making it better for you all to listen and enjoy. Subscribe to the channel, join the empire, hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. We appreciate everybody coming in and chatting with us on live stream. Everybody who chatted and everybody who came and supported the channel, we appreciate you all for coming in and making our show oh so great, oh so grand, and oh so special. And wherever you are listening from around the world, we love you and we appreciate you, and we thank you so much for you being a part of our day today. If you would and you want to support, if you would like to support the channel and you want to help us to continue to grow and make money on what we got going on, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, super chat, super gift, stickers, and the like. You can also support on the individual videos. I think there's like a support button, I think, at the bottom of all of these. If you so choose to, any amount will do. Helps me to go and make this show better, and helps us to go and edify and make this even grander for all of you to witness and enjoy. Rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, so you can make sure that we get the podcast out to the algorithms all across the globe. We're gonna be back most likely on Tuesday to cover what happens with Usyk and Rico and the rest of the fights over the weekend, and have more to discuss with the world of boxing and beyond. And we can't wait to see you all there, and we appreciate the love and support that you show to the channel every single week. And please keep on going through and sharing the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. You all have been absolutely wonderful. Be safe, be blessed, peace and love. Oh, we are out of here. Yes, sir. Salute to you. We gonna get on out of here. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great rest of the weekend. And we gonna be back for more fun next time on Be Safe, Be Blessed, and we are out of here.